Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. In today's video I'm going to show you how I've turned this into this. It mightn't be quick, but it sure was easy. This is one of my peach trees, and in its first productive season it produced an amazing amount of peaches. So too my two plum trees, which were equally abundant. And I found I couldn't throw out all the kernels that I held on to after preserving. So I decided to give it a go to grow some more of these amazing trees. About 9 months ago, I piled up a whole heap of cow manure and sheep manure in this spot, and it's broken down really well. What I'm planning to do is put all my peach seeds into this, make sure I've marked the area, and just keep an eye on it over the next few months and see if we get some peach and plum trees sprouting. So not sure how many peach, and the smaller ones are the plums, how many kernels we've got here, but to increase our chances I'm just going to throw them all in and just spread them around. And that's all I'm going to do, except for marking it, and we'll see how we go. I've just pulled some of the grasses and surrounded it to kind of mark the spot, but I'm not going to cover it over. We get plenty of rain at this time of year, so I don't think it will dry out, although I will keep an eye on it, and hopefully we'll get some germination. Just checking on these little trees now. They're growing really well. This one's getting quite a bit of growth on it. What I would like to do today is dig these plants up and move them to my nursery area and give them a little bit more attention. There's a few more here than what I've discovered previously. I'll carefully dig these up and move them. There's another one here and here, and nurture them a little bit more, but I'm going to leave this space pretty much undisturbed and see if I get any more. Unfortunately, a lot of these kernels were dug up. I had a little animal digging in here, so I'd buried most of these, but you know, nature takes its course and things get disturbed. But I'm really pleased to have been able to start a few of these little plants here. To successfully germinate these, the stone fruit kernels need to be exposed to cold temperatures, which is why I planted them out in winter. Stone fruit trees often grow true from seed, so we should get trees similar to the parent. There are a few just starting, so I'll cross my fingers that they transfer successfully. So all I've got to do now is get these guys potted up. The couple of larger ones I'll put into larger size pots, and I think the smaller ones will be okay in those, and then I can pot them up from there. So I'll just use the standard potting mix and see how we go getting these started. I didn't expect quite so many little trees started up there, otherwise I would have taken up a bigger container. And I'm just going to put it in like that. And then fill it up with some more potting mix. I'll just pop it in there until I've done them all, and then we'll give them a good water. Hopefully this one will grow. It's just got a tiny amount of roots there, so hopefully we haven't kind of disturbed it too early. I had been thinking about doing this for a while. Then one of my viewers asked why wasn't I growing more trees with all the kernels from my peaches last year. And I had been thinking about it, but she prompted me to give it a go. So that's why I'm doing this. So thanks, Martina. That one's just starting as well. if it's a peach tree, it should be the Red Haven. And if it's a plum tree, it could be the Satsuma or the Mariposa. I've grown both. So we'll have to just kind of wait and see. All right, I might leave that little ball together and pop it in. We have 10 little plants. This one here was the one that was just really starting, so we'll see how that one goes. But these other ones that are kind of established should go okay. So all I'm going to do now to water them is just dunk them into this tub of water and give them a really good soaking. And then I can just leave them outside on a tray to happily grow. If there's bubbles coming out, I do hold it under there until they've stopped. So you know that the water's filled in all those air spaces. It's half an hour later, so I thought I'd just check on how these plants are going. And this one is kind of wilting a little bit. So I'm just going to move these out of the sun and into the shade so that they can recover. And we'll check back on that this afternoon to see if it's standing upright again. It's later in the afternoon and my little seedlings have recovered nicely. They've been in the shade most of the afternoon and it's just a dappled light that's coming through on them now. I'll just leave them here in my nursery space and keep them watered, and we'll keep an eye on them over the coming months. Okay, it's about the 13th of December and I'm back here at my little cow poo patch where I'm growing plums and peaches and nectarines. The last harvest I did, it looked like they were all the same variety of tree, which is probably a plum because there was mostly plum kernels in the mix. But in this batch, there looks like there's 3 different trees, which I'm pretty excited about because it means I've got one of each variety at least. So in this mix, there looks like there's peaches, plums, and a nectarine tree. Now this little one here, I suspect is my nectarine. It's got sort of the longer slender leaves and more resembles a nectarine tree. This little one is possibly a peach tree. Its leaves are quite a bit rounder than this one over here, which looks very similar to the trees I've already potted up and in my greenhouse. So maybe that's a plum. Maybe that one's another little peach tree, and I suspect that's a peach tree too. I'm going to get them dug up because summer's coming. Even though it's cold and wintry today, summer is actually here, and at some point it's going to get warm and probably dry. And I don't want to leave these little trees up here exposed to the elements. So, like the others, I'm going to dig them up and then move them to my greenhouse area where I can look after them a little bit better. Now, I'm going to take quite a deep root. Now, that's not too bad a root system. I'll get that potted up and that should hopefully be okay. And I'll get this one as well. You have to do these fairly small so you don't kind of wreck the roots. I'll get those back to the greenhouse and pot it up. There's a bit of rain coming, so I'm just going to quickly get these little trees into pots and give them a good water. And try and be really gentle with their roots. Now I've got some potting mix just with some worm castings mixed in for these little trees. There's one done. Here we have our 4 little trees. Now just to get them well watered. Now I've put a little bit of that cow poo over the top of them, and that should help keep them well fertilised as well as the worm castings. I've just put our 4 new young trees in with the other trees, which I have 6 of them. There's some that didn't make it. They were probably a bit smaller. I didn't take enough root system, but the others are looking pretty good. It does look like we've got maybe a couple of different varieties. I suppose the only time we're really going to tell what we've got here is when they start to fruit, and we can work out exactly what these little plants are. It's the beginning of March now, and my little plants are hanging in there. We've got this one, which is the tallest, looking very, very good. Still not sure which is which out of these. These little ones look a little bit different to the taller ones, just their leaves look different. Here's the trees now. It's mid-autumn and they're starting to change colour, so they'll soon be losing their leaves. What I will be doing is planting these out in my swales once they've gone dormant. Now some of them are quite small, and I'll just be mindful of where I plant them and protect them quite a bit until they sort of get established. But I'm growing lots just to allow for any losses out in the paddocks. But hopefully I'll nurture these until they become productive and I can actually work out what they are. This year I've also collected kernels. This is a white nectarine from some fruit that I was given. I've collected a couple of white peach kernels from a tree that grows in the street. And I've got lots of satsuma and Mariposa plum. So I'm going to plant these this year. As I haven't got any piles of aged cow poo at the moment, I'm just going to plant all of these kernels into some compost, which I'll probably put just outside the greenhouse here so they're easy to check on. I've really enjoyed growing these little trees from seed, and while I will find homes for these ones in my swales, the ones I plant for this year I might be able to gift, sell, or even just plant by the roadside so others can share in the abundance. I'd love to hear if you've grown any fruit trees from seed, so please let me know down in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.